first scholar today who will speak in this symposium is Professor Gauri Mahulikar ji. She is the Academic Director of Chenmaya International Foundation, Ernakulam, Kerala. She will be speaking on the topic study of some homonyms in Nirukta in the light of Durgacharya's commentary. With that, I will welcome Professor Mahulikar to take it away from here. Namaste and welcome, Professor Gauri ji.
Thank you. Thank you and Hari Om. And before I start sharing, I would quickly invoke Goddess Sarasvati. She is the one who inspires us to hold on such things and such different difficult enterprises at times, right? Ya Devi Sita Pankaja Sanavara Sinaksha Malakara Veena Jankriti Nashta Sarva Jadata Smera Prafullanana Ya Vakyartha Pada Pramana Vibhava Ya Sarva Bhashatmika Tam Vacha Madhidevatam Bhagavatim Vande Sada Bharati. So, study of some homonyms in Nirukta, of course, in the light of Durgacharya's commentary, that is the topic. I think now, after I listen to all these things, perhaps Dr. Vasant Kumar Bhatt could have been the first, and then, some insights, and then we could have come to the Naigama Kanda. Anyhow, let me start. Ladies first, right? So let me start. So Yaska, I mean, some of the points could be overlapping because mine is the first talk I thought of having a little bit of introduction before going to the point directly, of the homonyms. So as Meghji rightly said, that he is the first linguistics and first etymologist, pre-Paninian, obviously pre-Paninian, minimum maybe 2 centuries before Paninian era. And very comprehensive in his reading, in his perception, in his apprehensions, everything east, west, north, south of Bharata, because there are many times, terms like Prachaha, Udicheshu and all that. So Dravideshu, Karnatakeshu. So he knows the pragmatics also of language and how there come in regional variations, So that hats off to Yaskacharya for that. He must have been familiar, obviously, with the Vedic Samhitas, the Pratishakyas, the Brahmana literature, and all that provided the phonetic material, furnished phonetic material to him for his commentary. I mean, there are debates whether because it is a commentary, should it be treated as the original text? Nighantu is the text. Nighantu is just a glossary and Nirukta is a commentary. So can it, does it deserve the designation of being a Vedanga? So we are not going into that, and we will see how Nighantu also is called Nirukta. Okay. And the main what you can say, qualification rather, I mean, who are we to give a certificate to Yaskacharya? But then he doesn't hesitate even a bit to discuss even the Vedic skepticism right in that Vedanga, which he has commented upon, and the commentary really starts later from Gau Shabda. But the first chapter is only an introduction, and in that itself it takes up, Anarthakaha Mantraha, such a debate by Kautsa. So it is very, what you can say, he is not at all fanatic. He is Veda Sharana, but there is no, what you can say, fanatic element in him that he can't tolerate anything, anybody speaks against Vedas. So that is the magnanimity, the liberal approach of Yaskacharya. We people have to learn many things from him. And etymology mainly based on the context and Arthanityaha Pariksheta, obviously. For example, a simple word like Anudaraha, how it could be interpreted differently if the context changes. So normally we'll do it as Udara is the word and An being the negative particle, because it's a vowel starting word. It is not A, it is An. and therefore unudaraha, not liberal, that is miser. But then anu, if you take anu as a prefix, then anudaraha followed by wife. Okay, so that would depend upon the context. So when Yaskacharya, in his first chapter only, he says that Tatra namani akhyata jani, that is his famous principle, Shakatayana's principle. And then he says that Natveva na nirbruyat. You know, if you can't find any root in a word, you feel like, you know, I can't find any verb. So let there not be any akhyata, let it just be a taddita and all that. Natu eva na nirbruyat. Okay, you have to talk about the nirvachana, base that too on the roots, the verbs, but arthanityaha pariksheta and naikapadam nirbruyat. Singled out pada from the context, out of the context, the aikapadani is the prakarana, naigama kanda is a prakarana. But when he says naikapadani nirbruyat, he is himself talking about ekapada, but that too in context. When he says naikapadani nirbruyat, that means out of the context, in isolation, singled out Vedic words should not be interpreted. Okay. So these are some of the precautions that one has to keep in mind. And definition wise, arthavabodhe nirapekshataya padajatam yatra uktam tan niruktam. Sayanacharya would give in his bhashya pitika, you know, Rigveda bhashya pitika, bhashya bhumika. So this definition by Sayana includes Nighantu as well. Yatra Arthavabodhe nirapekshataya padajatam uktam. So padajatam, the entire padajata, the entire glossary of Vedic words, where it is stated for what? For arthavabodha, for clear understanding of the meaning. When you start with Gauhu, Kshma, Jma, etc., Ekavimshati, Prithivi Namadheyani, in that cluster of the list, all the names are Prithivi Namadheya. So that padajata is arthavabodhaka, okay? It is Prithivi Namadheyani, then Jala Namani, Hiranya Namani, etc. So artha avabodha is there. Gavadi Deva Patnyanta Shabda Samudaye, Etavanti Prithivi Namadheyani, Etavanti Suvarna Namadheyani, Iti Nirapekshataya Padartha Jnanam Karitam Ataha Niruktam. And therefore Nighantu also is called Nirukta. Okay. And the second part of that is the commentary itself, the Vyakhya of Yaskacharya itself, because, you know, we don't know which Nighantu. There must have been many Nighantus, many glossaries, because Nighantu is a common name for a glossary. We have Raja Nirghanta, we have Ayurveda, Oshadhi Nighanta, right? So there are Nighantus. So Ekaikasya Padasya Sambhavitaha Avayavarthaha Yatra Nisheshena Uchyante Tadapi Niruktam. When Sayana says Tadapi Niruktam, that means the commentary also becomes Nirukta. Basically, it is Nighantu, which is Nirukta, where the Padajata is given. And secondly, Yatra Ekaikasya Padasya, take one word and Avayava, split it in the syllabic portions and try to derive every portion from a root. Yatra Nisheshena Uchyate, all possible roots you can, you know, explore from that. Tadapi Niruktam. So this encompasses the commentary on Nighantu by Yaskacharya as Nirukta. For example, he says Hiranyam Kasmat. Okay, this is Nighantuka Kanda. Hiranyam Kasmat. Why gold is called Hiranya? Riyate Ayamyamanam. Ru, from Ru. Riyate. It is stretched out. It is taken. It is exchanged. Ayamyamanam. Okay, it can be stretched. Another thing is like the qualities of the metal, like malleability, ductility, etc., were known to the 7th or 8th century BC Indians. That is a scientific exploration, or, you know, a flash which we get. But then riyate ayamyamanam, riyate janam, for barter, for buying and, you know, trading. Hitaramanam bhavati itiva. Hridaya Ramanam Bhavati Itiva. All people, they relish, oh, I have so much of gold. Haryatehe Vasyat Prepsa Karmanam. So all these are from Ri, and Syat. So this is that Nisheshena Uchyate Avayavarthaha Yatra Uchyante Avayavarthaha. So Tadapi Nirukta. Now in the Nigantu there are 3 kandas. Nirukta is the commentary on Nigantu, the glossary of 5 kandas of Nigantu. The Nigantu has 3 divisions, 5 kandas, chapters, but 3 sections. The first section is Naigantuka Kanda. This deals with the synonyms, the Paryayavachi Shabda. Many words are there, meaning the same, like Ekavimshati Prithvi Namadheyani, Hiranya Namadheyani, like that. 16 names for Rushas, 21 names for Earth, etc., etc. The second section, comprising of 3 chapters of Nirukta, obviously, and Nigantu, it is only 1 chapter, that is the 4th one. It is called Naigama Kanda or Aikapadika Kanda. The Naigantuka Kanda comprises 3 chapters of Nigantu. The 4th chapter of Nigantu is the Naigama Kanda, for which Yaska in Nirukta has given 4th, 5th and 6th 3 chapters. And the 5th Kanda of Nigantu, which is the 3rd section, is Daivata Kanda, where the collection of all the names of the Vedic deities like Jata Vedas, Indra, Manduka, Ulukala, all these, the Daivata, whatever, Yatena Uchyate, Sa Devata, right? So all that has been discussed in the 5th Kanda of 5th Kanda of Nigantu, which is the 3rd section. So Naigantuka Kanda, Naigama Kanda and Daivata Kanda. These are the 3 sections divided into the 5. And while commenting on all these from the Go Shabda, the principles which Yaska or the traditional Niruktakaras have used are Panchavidha. There are 5-fold. Varnagamo Varnaviparyayascha. This is the famous verse. I need not tell the scholars about that. And there are so many examples about that. We can take one example for our understanding now. So Varnagamat, 1 additional Varna you add, and then you derive a particular word from a specific verb or a root. So Hamsa, for example, is derived from root Hasa. Hasa is to smile, to laugh. What it has to do with Hamsa, the swan? You add a Varna, that is Anuswara, to that. But what is the similarity? You go to the Kavisamaya. Swan is full white in color, and our Hasya, Kavisamaya, Praudokti is white in color. And so to Hasa, which is to smile or to laugh, and then there is Hamsa. We have this in our colloquial language, like Sneha becomes Saneha, Mere Snehi aaye the, Sanehi ji aaye the. That's in Hindi very popular. Smaran becomes Sumirana Karo. It is Smarana, but Sumirana. So you add that Sa is half, Halanta. You add Ukara to that. You add Ikara to Ma, and it becomes Sumirana. So Varnagaman. So many words you can have with this. Then Varna Vipariyayat, like Simha becomes from Himsa, Simha Kasmat, Himsanat, and therefore from Himsa, Simha, this is Varna Viparyaya, and Ki Matbala hai, Matlab becomes Matbala. So all this from Kasa, it is Sikata, from Srija, it is Rajju. So examples could be multiplied. Then Varna Vikara, basically it is not Jo, Juta. In Jyoti, the verb is Gyuta, that Dakara changes to Jakara. Similarly, Ogha, Hole, or a stream, it is from Vaha. And Vaha becomes, Va becomes O. It is like, the Samprasarana. Then Vida becomes, Bha becomes Ba, Bindu. Then Varna Nasha. So Varnagamat, Varna Viparyayat, Varna Nashat, like Tisraha Ruchaha becomes Trichaha. Or Prishat Udaram Yasya becomes Prishodaram. Yacha Mitva becomes Yamitvam. It is not the root Ya to go there. It is Yacha. So context. yachamitva. This is Shunashepa Zarucha to Varuna. And then dhatoho tadarthatishayat. You take a dhatu and you go on, exceeding the meaning, the what you can say, abhidhartha, then the lakshanartha, and you go on adding some layers to that, arthatishaya, and then you still can derive the word from that root. For example, samahananat nigantuhu. Now, ni plus ghanta, how can it be derived from sam plus a plus hana? But when in the very first chapter you get 2, 3, 4 etymologies of nigantu, nigamanadva, etc. Ni plus gama also becomes nigantu. It is basically nigantu, then ga becomes ga, and na becomes na, and ta becomes ta. That is still understandable, but how can you derive it from sam plus a plus hana, then arthatishaya? What is the meaning of that? This is a collection, an assemblage, an aggregate. You compile all the words meaning the same thing. So this assemblage is samahanana. And therefore, the very first Nirukta starts with samamnayaha samamnataha, right? It is samamnayaha samamnataha, samyak amnataha. So samahananat nigantuhu, it is tadar dhatoho arthatishaya. Similarly, samiti, sam is the upasarga, samiti eki karane, ingatau is the root. How can samiti mean sarana? Samiti is where people come together with some interest. So samiti is like sabha and samiti. That could be the primary meaning of samiti. But the yodharaha api, they come together with one intention, maro ya maro. And therefore samiti gets extended to rana. It is arthatishaya. So like that, this is the Panchavidha Nirukta. We are not going into the Naigantuka Kanda at all. Now let me come to the Naigama Kanda, which I want to speak. That consists of the homonyms. So there are 2 types of homonyms which Yaska discusses. Anekarthani eka shabdani anukramishamaha. With this he starts. Navena dhanyena purvam nama puranam dayamanaha syama ityatra dayadhatuhu raksharthakaha durvartuhu bhimo dayate vanani ityatra dayadhatuhu dahanarthakaha. So the same dhatu daya, it is raksharthaka as well in that first line which he has quoted, the Vedic mantra. And then durvartur bhimo dayate vanani. Here it is vanani dayate. It is not raksharthaka. The Agni is not protecting the forest. He is burning the forest to the ashes. And therefore it is dahanarthakaha. So anekarthani eka shabdani. The word daya has multiple meanings, and that we are taking here one after the other. That is how he starts. And for this, the basic principle which he uses as a base, a criterion, is artha nityaha pariksheta samskaram na. Here we mean the prakriti purusha prakriti and pratyayatmaka vyakarana samskara. And that's why when we come to that thing, it is a totality of the vyakarana which Mahamahopadhyaya Korada Subramanyam Gauri is going to talk about. Tadidam vidyasthanam vyakaranasya kartsnyam. So it gives a totality. It goes to that extent where vyakarana cannot justify anything. Nirukta can justify that, going a step ahead. And the second types of words which he is discussing here are anavagata samskaranscha nigaman anukramishamaha, where the grammatical samskara are obscure for one reason or the other. There are 10 reasons given by Durga. Okay, for one reason or the other, where the samskara is not very clear, it is obscure. Yatra vyakarana samskaraha nadrishyante tani padani atra anukramishamaha tad eika padam iti achakshate. So ekaikam padam tatra vyachakshate. Therefore it is aikapadika kanda. Artha nishchayakatvat ekaikam padam vyakyatam. For example, he takes the word tita-u. Tita-u, now that tita and u, that and u, there is a hiatus, they don't become a sandhi. When you try to type it, I tried to type it tita-u with the Unicode, it becomes tita-u. But then tita and then with space I typed u and then I joined them together. Otherwise and u, it becomes o, right? So it becomes a sandhi there, but tita-u iti anavagatametat. And what it is then Yaska explains it as, this is something like a sieve to purify the saktu. He said, tatena charmana naddham tunnaihi va chidraihi tadvat tilamatrani va tunnani chidrani tasminiti. I think I have one more slide on this. So Sanskrit homonyms, now what are homonyms? Homonyms, homophone, homograph, we come across so many different words in linguistics, right? Fortunately, Devanagari or Sanskrit we say, not Devanagari, Sanskrit, you spell as you write and you write as you articulate, and therefore there are no, like, there are certain things like they are homographs, but they are not homophones. Such confusion we don't have. In Sanskrit, we don't have that. So the written and the pronounced, they are in the same manner, spelled as you speak. English homophones are sometimes heterographs. They are not homographs, like read and read. But one is read and one is read. Now read and read and read. R-E-A-D, read, that's a past tense or past passive participle, and R-E-D, read, or soul, S-O-L-E, and also S-O-U-L, they are homophones, but they are not homographs. They are heterographs. Such confusion, fortunately for us, doesn't arise. So let's take the example of the Anavagata Samskara, obscure words, and for that we need to know what are the reasons, the karanas of the grammatical obscurity. And that Durgacharya says that it is not knowing the padajati, not knowing what is the part of the speech. For example, in the very first chapter of Nirukta, we have tva and tve and tvasmai, etc. If it is a nipata, if it is an avyaya, how can it be tve and tvaya and all that, right? So whether it is a nama or a nipata, sometimes we don't know what is the padajati, what is the part of speech. Okay, nama, khyate, upasarga, nipatascha, these are the 4 parts of speech. But what part of speech it is, because there is confusion. So that could be one karana. Then not knowing the meaning, abhidheya, what is intended, we don't know. Sometimes the swara are not clear because we don't have the proper knowledge of swara, and therefore, and there are many examples like that. Then samskara, prakriti, samskara, that is the prakriti pratyaya, vyakarana samskara is obscure, it is not clear. Guna, the visheshana, for example, it is stated as the visheshana bhaga. But if you go to Karulati will be discussing after some time, I think. So Karulati iti bhagasya visheshanam iti proktam vastutaha tat poshnaha bhavitum arhati kasmat tasya dantahinatvat. Karulati anavagatametat. Karulati kim bhavitum arhati krittadati bhavet. Krittadati, one whose teeth are broken. Now for this, there is no explanation given in the Vedic literature, but the explanation we get in the Puranic literature. And that's why we say Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupa Brumhayed Vibhet Telpashrutat Vedo Mamayam Praharishyati. The story comes in the Dakshadvara Mathana, in the Shaiva Puranas. And Bhairava was created and all that. And then he broke the teeth of Pusha, and therefore Pusha is Karulati. And that is the reason why Pusha is offered in the Rigveda, Karamba, a gruel. He doesn't have teeth. Come on, he doesn't have teeth to chew. And therefore he is not offered Purodasha. The normal Havi is not given to him. Normal Naivedya is not given to him. He is offered gruel. Now Veda talks and stops here. That Pusha is offered Karamba. He has got Karambhada, an epithet for that. and he is called Karulati. But why? Justificatory tales, etiological tales, narratives come in the Purana. That's another story. So, Guna, it is Bhagasya Visheshanamiti Dattam, Kintu Pushnaha Bhavitum Arhati. So, Visheshana is not properly attached to the Nama, and therefore sometimes the confusion arises. Pada Vibhaga, there could be problem in the Pada Patha. Pada Krama, Akanksha, Apeksha, like Uparamadhvam me vachase saumyaya in the Vishwamitra Nadi Samvada Sukta. Me saumyaya vachase Partshututri Uparamadhvam. Please stop flowing in your great floody water, floods or streams, Please be fordable for me. So me and saumyaya, they are, and that is a Vedic thing, right? Vachase, there occurs one word in between, and therefore me saumyaya, we don't know that they are connected with each other. Many times it happens, especially in the Vedic things, that the upasarga and the dhatu are sometimes, separated by one. Upasarga comes somewhere in the beginning, and the end of the mantra, the kriyapada would be there. If you lose the attention on the upasarga, the meaning of the entire rucha won't come properly, right? Because they are separated. So such separation happens many times, and therefore sometimes the pada become anavagata. Pada vikshepa, Dyavanaha Prithvi. Again, there is a vikshepa. Dyava Prithvi, like Rodasi, have to be together, but then Naha, this comes in between. Adhyahara Dano Vishaha Indraha Ityatra Danamanasaha iti Padasya Adhyaharaha. But that is not given, and therefore pada becomes anavagata. And lastly, Vyavadhana, Vayu Pusha Swastaye Niyutvan is a Visheshana of Vayu, Niyutvan iti padam, Vayuna Sambadham, Kintu Swastaye Pusha iti padadvayena Vyavahitam. There are it is interrupted, there are so many hurdles, impediments, and therefore anavagata. So these are the various reasons for the obscurity, and therefore the pada becomes anavagata, and then it becomes very challenging. So these are the solitary occurrences in the Vedic texts. Many of these words occur only once. For example, Mehana, it is Rigveda 539.1 Atri Mandala. So Mahi Vruddhau, we try to derive, Yaskacharya tried to derive it. Mahi Vruddhau Vardhitum Yogyam iti. Kidrusham Dhanam. This is an appeal to Indra. Indra, give me that great and varied wealth and riches, That's what the Atri, Bhauma Atri is appealing. Now, Yad Indra Chitra Mehana Asti Tva Adatam Adrivaha. Adrivaha, it's an epithet of Indra. Now, Mahi Vruddhau could be one possibility of deriving it. Another could be Mahapujayam Pujaniyam Dhanam. Kidrusham Dhanam, it is being asked for what type of wealth? Pujaniyam Dhanam, which everybody covets for, or Vardhitum Yogyam, which can be nourished and nurtured further, grown further. Or it could be Miha Sechane. See, we don't know exactly from what root, which root we can derive it. So Miha Sechane, because Megha, see Indra, because he is the showerer, he is the Vrusha, like Vrusha Kamanam Varshitatvat, as Sayana would say, and others would interpret it as Vrushanam Vrushabha, bull, as mighty as a bull. Again, there are so many differences in this. So Mehana, it could be like Ma plus Iha plus Na. This is a very ingenious type of etymology. Ingenious type of etymology. Yan me iha nasti. That type of rich, that type of wealth, that type of prosperity, which I don't possess. Oh Indra, please give me that which I don't have. All other things I have. But the things which I don't have, please give me. So Durga suggests these things for asserting meaning to the obscure words, from the context. So Naika Padani Nirbruya, we have that principle. And meanings of the adjacent words, it comes as an adjective. Another adjective which is given is chitram. Chitram is varied. And so you see the context, you see the other adjective is used for the same thing, and then accordingly you can interpret. And then phonetically similar words and desired meaning of the words you can derive. So mehana, it could be mahi vruddhau mahapujayam miha sechane, or ma plus iha plus na. Ma is me iha nasti tad dhanam mayham dadatu. So artha nirdharane prakaranam purvottara pada avirodha. There should not be virodha in one visheshana and the other visheshana. Purvottara pada avirodha, shabda sarupyam, akankshitartha. All these things we have to take into consideration. Titau, I said this is like a sieve. So titau, this is anavagatam. But saktumiva titau na punanto yatra dhira manasa vacham akrata. When the wise create speech, dhiraha vacham akrata, they created Vani, they created speech through manasa, through their mind. This is through their wisdom, winnowing it as people winnow barley with a sieve. Then friends know friendship, good fortune is placed upon their word. That means you have to speak the balanced words so that while sieving something, the unwanted thing is left over, and whatever the essence that is taken. Similarly, when wise people speak, they talk in balanced manner. That is the word. That is the meaning. Titau paripavanam bhavati tatavadva tunnavadva tilamatra tunnam itiva. This is Nirukta. Tatena charmana nadham tunnaihi va chidraihi, etc. And the commentary Udbata has given here, Shurpavat doshamutsrujya. It is not just a sieve, it's like a winnowing basket. Shurpavat doshamutsrujya gunam grinnanti sadhavaha doshagrahi gunatyagi asadhuhu titau yatha. So there are two things, one is titau and one is shurpa. What does shurpa do? Shurpa, dosham utsrujya gunam grinnanti, because when we know that whatever is, unwanted, that goes away, that flies away, and whatever is essence, that we preserve. On the other hand, titau does what? Whatever is there in the strainer, in that sieve, that is only dosha yukta, and the guna is drained out. So doshagrahi gunatyagi titau. And gunagrahi and doshatyagi is shurpa. That is Udbata. Another thing is tanyate bhrishtayawaha atra iti. Or tanyante bhrishtayawaha. The roasted saktu, barley, are tanyante, they are spread out in that sieve. And therefore from tanavistare, this is derived. Chalanyam iti amaraha, chhatre iti ujjvala dattaha. The lexicons give you different meanings, but one gives you chalani, that is this chalni, like that, the atta comes down, and what we don't want, that husk and all, that remains in the titau, and that's why Udbata calls it as doshagrahi gunatyagi. Now Jamihi, in the Yamayami dialogue, this word comes. Aghata gacha anuttara yugani yatra jamayaha krinvan najami. Yamayami Samvada Sukta. The subsequent ages will come when sisters will choose one who is not a brother as their husband. This word occurs. Now we are not connected with the brother sister getting married and all that. We are not concerned now at this point to the sociology, only to the grammar. So grammar and Nirukti. This word occurs thrice in the Rigveda in these circumstances, 354, 10-10-4 and 10-10-10. This is the 10-10-10, 10th mantra. And Jami normally means a sister. And Yaska derives it, like Jami atireka nama balishasya asamana jatiyasya upajanaha. asamana jatiyasya va upajanah. Jamyate iti jamihi jalam. Jamyate, that which is taken, partaken, and therefore jami means jalam. Jamyate bhojanam yabhihi taha jamayaha nama angulayaha. We eat with our fingers, and therefore jami means anguli, because it is derived from root jama, to eat. Anye asyam jam nama apatyam janayanti iti jamihi nama bhagini. Now the very popular meaning of jami is bhagini, and how we can derive at this particular meaning? Anye, other people, other person reproduces in her his child, and therefore anye asyam jam nama apatyam janayanti iti jamihi nama bhagini. So shochanti jamayo yatra vinashatyashu tatkulam. This is from Manusmriti. So jami is used later on also. Kulluka Bhatta on Manusmriti, this particular verse, Kulluka says that Sannihita Sapinda Stri is Jami. It's not necessarily only the Soda Bhagini, but it could be Sapinda Stri. Kayamanaha is one word. I would go to it like Kamayamanaha with Elisha. It could be Kamayamanaha, because the sutra, the Rucha says, Kayamano vanatvam yan matruhu ajagannapaha natatte agne pramrishe nivartanam yad dure sanyapa. So, he Agne, Vana, Nama Daruni, Kashtani, Kayamanaha, Chayamanaha, Athava Kamayamanaha, Pashyan, iti avagamaha. So, we here directly use the principle of this Varanagama. I mean, there was Varananasha of that ma, and therefore it becomes Kayamanaha. You add that ma to the word, and Kamayamanaha, desiring for. Varaha is a very commonly used word. Varaho megho bhavati. Varaharaha. And varam nama kim? Varam is not better ahara. Varam nama udakam. Udakam aharaha yasya iti varahaha nama meghaha. Or varaha shreshtaha aharaha iti bhavishyad vritya lakshate jalavarshanat annadikam bhavati iti va, says Durga. Vara could mean Vara is Udaka, but Vara could also mean the good one, Shrestha. Why? Bhavishyad Vritya. It has to happen now. Once the clouds will shower the rain, there will be food, bumper crops and harvest. With that view in mind, Bhavishyad Vritya, Varaha nam Shresthaha aharaha yasya iti varahaha nama megha. Both mean megha only. And now Varaha meaning the boar, ayamapi itaro Varahaha, nama Shukaraha, etasmadeva. From this only. Why? Because there also both ways it is applicable. Varam nama moolam bruhati udyachati iti va. Varam moolam vahati varavarhaha. It has to be, it is basically varavarha, and then Purusha becomes Purishaya, and then it becomes Purusha. Similarly, varavarhaha san varahaha. Nigamascha, there is a nigama, varahamindra emusham. Emusha, tam emusham varaham jaghana prajapati. In the Shatapatha Brahmana also it comes. Another thing is, angirasaha api varaha uchchante. Angirasaha api varaha uchchante. And there is a quotation, 1067.7, Brahmanaspatihi, etc. Why they are called varaha there? Now these angirasaha are rashmaya. They are the rays of the sun. Varam varaniyam jalam aharanti iti rashmayaha varaha. Why Rashmis are also called Varaha? Because they also aharanti. They take, they withdraw, they absorb what? Varam nama jalam. The rays, they evaporate water content from the water bodies, right? So Varam Varaniyam Jalam aharanti iti rashmayaha api varahaha. अथापि एते माध्यमिकाः देवगणाः वराहवः इति उच्यन्ते मरुतः. So माध्यमिकाः देवगणाः एतस्मादेव, because varam varaniyam jalam aharanti iti varaha. I wanted to discuss Admasad. I am not going by order in which Nirukta gives you all these words. I can't have all these, right, in 40 minutes. So Admasad I wanted to discuss because, the Geldner, German interpreter, has translated this word Admasad as literal meaning, like one who sits on Admanama Annam, one who sits on Anna. That is a fly. One who sits on food, that's a fly. So that is the meaning which he has taken, and how wrong that meaning is. And therefore I chose this word. Adma annam bhavati, okay? Adanat. Admasadini itiva, admasanini itiva. So this basically means, when Yaska interprets this, he means Adma means food, and Admasad, the main woman of the home, the queen of the house, who obtains the food or who serves the food. She is the queen of the house. So she obtains it, she makes it, she prepares it, and she serves it too. This word occurs in the Vedic Sukta to Ushas only once in Rigveda 1:124:4. Now, why Usha is called Admasadini, Sanini? She arises before the sun, awakening the sleeping people, like the queen of the house. You can just visualize the queen of the house, the mother, the chief woman, and she wakes up all the people, she brings food to them, and she nourishes them. And she is, she has to be there eternally. People can't imagine of a household without a grahaswamini. So, Admasanna Sasato Bodhayanti, this is the Rucha. That Rigveda 1:124:4, this is the Rucha. Punareyushinam, who come again and again. It's a repeated reoccurrence of Usha. Every morning we see her. And she is like Admasad for Swapataha, Sasataha, Swapataha, Bodhayanti. She is awakening like the queen of the house. And this fellow, Geldner, he translates this as a fly. What a derogative, and it's a detrimental to the entire interpretation and the meaning, the translation. How can you translate this as a fly? And ritually, there are priests who are called Admasad, who eat food before others. And especially in the Shraddha or in some such rituals, the priests are fed first. Such priests are called Admasad. So without having the entire cultural background, if we go on translating only by the mere word, word meaning, the lexical meaning, you are likely to misinterpret. And that is the worry, of Vedapuruṣa. Akuparaha, Akuparaha bhavati duraparaha, samudraha api akuparaha uchyate. Akuparo bhavati mahaparaha, kachchapaha api akuparaha uchyate, akuparaha na kupam richatiti. There are 3-4 meanings of akupara. Akupara comes in the Brahmana Grantha also. In the Rigveda, it comes only once. 5:39:2, again Atri Mandala, Vidyamatasyate vayam akuparasya davane. O Indra, let us know that your wealth, davane, dana, which you can give in dana, which has no limit. Akuparasya. Okay. Now you have to interpret this by splitting it. Na kum a ku para. Para from root pru piparti. Ku is Prithvi. Na is negation. Na kum nama prithivim piparti iti. That which doesn't fill the earth. That which is much larger than the earth. Doesn't fill the earth. Much larger than the earth, you can't measure it, unbounded, unlimited, and therefore it is ocean. Therefore it is samudraha, samudraha api akuparaha uchyate. It could be unlimited sea, unlimited sun, because unlimited rays with which the sun shines. And therefore it could be the sun. It means tortoise in general. Lexical meaning of akupara is kachapa. As it doesn't move in a well, for that there is another vitpatti, na kopam richati iti. It doesn't stay in the well. I mean, it can't grow in the well. It has to have a larger water body, big lakes or oceans. Na kopam richati, richa gamanarthaka. So this is tortoise in general. In Mahabharata, the king of tortoise living in the Indradyumna Sara is called Akupara. So Akupara, the lexical meaning is only, but here it means the unlimited, unbounded wealth of Indra. Okay. So now I'm coming to the close before you remind me, Megji. So Yaska's, see, 5 o'clock now, my time is 5. Yaska's principle of tadidam vidyasthanam vyakaranasya karsnyam. So all these are principles of Yaska which are like put to practice, this is not just a theory he is talking about. He gives you multiple examples where these linguistic principles have been used and how we can use it. So only grammar is insufficient to derive at the correct meaning of a word. Grammar is the first step, no doubt. But merely depending upon grammar, relying on grammar may not give you the right solutions. You have to go further. And that's why Vyakaranasya Karsya. And for that, what you have to remember is Artha Nityaha Pariksheta first and foremost. Otherwise, Anudaraha will become followed by the wife, Anudaraha. Then the Naika Padani Nirbruyat, again his principle. Natvevana Nirbruyat. You have to etymologize, come what may. But in that, you have to look for the prakarana, the context. And Tatra Namani Akhyata Jani is the basic principle of Shakatayana, which is agreeable to Yaskacharya as well. For this particular lecture, all these books, otherwise Nirukta, every Sanskrit scholar will have, every Sanskrit teacher and student will have. So thank you very much, INDICA, and thank you, Meg, especially for reaching out to me for giving this talk. I really, this Naigama Kanda is never taught in the colleges or the universities. It's only the first 2 Kandas and Daivata Kanda, so Ko Vaishwanaraha, Jata Vedaha, all these things we are taught. Tisro Devataha, Tisro Vaidevataha, Prithvisthani, and all that. So except for these 3 Kandas, no other portion of Nirukta is ever has been included in any syllabi of universities. So I feel, we have to do some Swadhyaya. This is from my Swadhyaya. Nobody has taught me. So here are many good judges here. So this is what I like to do, and I have tried to do it. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you so much, Professor Mahulikar. That was such a well-structured, lucid talk, and surely we benefited from the rare insights. As you mentioned, much of this is also not covered in the curriculum. Once again, thank you very much for making time and for honoring us by joining us in this symposium and sharing your insights.